Welcome. In this edition of Down to Earth, we'll be focusing on the voice change and diplomacy. One of the very interesting aspect was an open initiative which was started in Madhya Pradesh, and this talks about the bringing in the tribal settlements together, and nearly 100 children were brought from various parts, and they were aimed to bring in the ideas where the problems which the families were deeply affected with, for example, substance abuse were checked, and then people who were related to them, they were being inspired to get into early jobs and get into a livelihood, right? So this was one of the effort, and this is called as a school of change, the street school, which was brought in specifically where the adults were facing high percentages of addiction. The next was the children from these areas gathered, and they were from the various wards, bringing in a change in the attendance that was seen, and finally they were able to get into some kind of vocational activities with a better balance of academic education and social skills. They were able to bring in the de-addiction prevention centers to engage with the adults as well, and then there was numerous activities associated to it, which included land donation and other activities. The next was in Kerala. There was repeatedly events of landslides and erosion, and then there was Madhav Gidgil, who actually focused on this issue. He was one of the founders of Center for Ecological Sciences at IISc Bangalore, and his engagement with Silent Valley movement has been very important because he opposed the construction of dam and brought in the idea to respect the ecological limits, and experts were brought in to question the state's authority. Now this advocacy was brought in through his very deep efforts. There was the Silent Valley movement which started, then there was a Western Ghat ecology expert panel report which was established. There were misinformation which were mirrored around the issue. However, he was accused of displacing the livelihoods, favoring the displacement of the livelihoods of people in the Idukki and Wayanad area. And then there was issues which were laid on the validation, where voice of reason gained renewed relevance. And this system was brought from resistance to relevance in the later period. So Gadgil's revolution and his ideas related to Silent Valley movement have been very important. There had been criticisms for the same. However, bringing in harmony and livelihood in this region was one of the major aspects, specifically in the ecological sensitive areas. The next was the recent barrel diplomacy, where the Venezuela President Maduro was in news, and the main issues revolved around the Venezuela's oil reserves. The energy markets have seen this debate since long. There was a geological gold mine that Venezuela has, which has nearly 18% of the world's crude oil reserves, and the potential for extracting the oils from the global reserves have been very high. However, over the years there had been infrastructure collapse. There were sanctions, underinvestments, and decayed infrastructure. Heavy crude was one of the important ingredients which was required, and there was a conflict between China, India, US for bringing in better refineries. US companies were like Chevron were expanding the imports, and India's impact has been very important. There has been a high impact with frozen dividends, and intermittent supply would be hurt because of this. Previously we have also seen the issues for the petroleum and the oil wars, but our past experiences have been different. This time it was the US intervention, which was a political shift to restore the traditional financial alignment. In the past, it was non-dollar currencies to evade the sanctions that Venezuela was using. However, global reliance on US dollar for energy has been strengthening over the years. Now, the next one we would focus on is a new law that has been passed to bring in India's nuclear sector into revival, and this was the Shanti Act, which is sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energies for transforming India. We have covered a separate lecture on that, but the idea was under this, the FDI investment of 49% would be allowed, and the move has led to state-owned NTPC to enter into discussions with global nuclear firms to allow better growth and development of nuclear energy into India. So there would be a composite licensing, a streamlined single window approach which would allow the private entities to hold licensing for mining, reactor constructions, operating them simultaneously, and then the foreign direct investments up to 49%. The current status is somewhere at around 8 gigawatts. We are expecting it to reach to a target capacity of 100 gigawatts for nuclear energy. So bringing in with Shanti Business, the main idea is regulatory independence and ease of doing business. So far, it was operational liability and suppliers accountability, which was one of the major issues. So bringing in the liability caps and reducing those caps has been one of the important aspects under the Shanti reform. The next is, there is a private operator, he pays a limited amount. Then there is an equipment supplier whose liability is now removed, and the public is now the exchequer, where everything would be everything else would be paid off. So there would be a better speed of construction, better cost efficiency, better flexibility, and there would be a reduction in the base load stability. So those are some of the grand plans that have been laid under the Shanti Act, one of the very, very important acts for strengthening India's nuclear power reactors and making India self-reliant in the energy sector. So breaking down the monopoly of the state, bringing in joint ventures, single license and automatic routing, and there would be a significant increase in the large reactors, the mid-size reactors as well as the small reactors. So lower caps for the small reactors would reduce the barriers for the free entry of new technology into India. The center's overall liability beyond the operational cap up to 30 million mid-sized reactors has been important. The next is changing from an old regime to a new framework regime with open market, more flexibility, more accessibility and better information control. The next we focus on is Manrega, replacing it with the scheme which is known as the VB Ramji scheme, and this is the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika mission, which talks about bringing in better alignment and increasing the work entitlement to 125 days from the 100 days of guaranteed employment. And this also brings in a scheme based act where work availability would be tied to center allocation. The responsibility would be directly taken into account by the state itself. There would be prohibited use during the peak agricultural months, and centralized control would be checked into account. Now this has been one of the important shifts. So another important scheme that we need to focus on, the strength and the positivities we have already discussed. So this scheme, which is for the guarantee of Rozgar and Ajivika mission, would replace the Manrega scheme and has brought in numerous debates onto the same. The next important topic that we would focus on is bringing in the better opportunities for development in the rural area and bringing in the policy divergence for the same. So this actually talks about how there would have been changes in the sustainable development. The next we would talk about is the Aravalli range, another important topic that we need to focus on, and this decision went to Supreme Court for how much damage can Aravallis be having. This is to check onto the mining activities and the urban expansion in the region. So the ecological aspects of the Aravallis have been affecting. There are more than 4,000 cases with 34 districts affected, and the idea is the elevation must rise 100 meters and above for considering this range, and this range is identified only if the hills are within 500 meters of each other. Now there have been various comparisons that have been done, the legal filters which are talking about protecting the forest to opening the mines in the region, bringing in the area under vulnerable laws or the area which is to be protected. The definitions focusing on the low ridge lying areas, the actual extent of Aravallis, and the major areas which are affected include Rajasthan as the primary region, followed by Haryana, parts of Gujarat, and the northern tip of the southern tip of Delhi, which is the part of the northern ridge. And there have been numerous public debates and controversies regarding to it, and this is the area which has been potentially exposed to the mining areas. Now this is the area surrounding the region, mainly for the regions of Udaipur and Chittorgarh, where we have seen maximum mining activities that have been seen. We have also focused on the ecological integrity of Aravalli being threatened, and this is again one of the important aspects that need to be taken into account. The handouts for this would be available in the current affairs section, so you can check those for Aravallis. Also, we have covered a separate lecture on Aravalli, which is a very important topic, specifically for those from geography optional, so cover that carefully. The next we are talking about the issues which pertain to the faulty assessments of the the Aravalli belt which has been done, and there has been Bayana warnings. Now Bayana in Rajasthan is known for its historical legacy. It once was a source of abundant water, however there has been a decline. This decline wasn't because of an earthquake or a tremor, but we have seen a constant resource depletion. Now this has led to the decline in the economy and the infrastructure capabilities of the Bayana region in Rajasthan. Also, there have been similar studies. For example, in the ancient text, Mahabharata talked about the earthquake activity as one of the very important aspects which was affecting the life. The next was the colonial period, which talked about the seismic activities. Then the Koyana Dam incidents, which focused on the reservoir pressure leading to the trigger quakes. And finally, the Talala, which has been into news in Gujarat, which again talks about the seismic vibrations which have been led because of the building of the dam. So there have been numerous aspects onto the same that need to be taken into account. However, there are water lily blankets, the paddy fields, which have been one of the very important tourism centers. Now this region is known as the Vembanad Kole wetlands, and it is known for its water lilies, which are known as Omarana. It is also called as a pink carpet. There has been a significant boom in the tourism in the region. There has been an income shift from the traditional agriculture to what is called as tourism during the major periods. So these areas have grown, and there has been developments because of the building of the dams, the barrage which has been built, and finally the bloom in the areas for water lily has been seen. So soil has improved, there has been removal of the heavy metals, the weeds have been suppressed, and this has led to definite impact onto the region. Also, the capacity for removing heavy metals is very high for these water lilies, which include lead, cadmium, and mercury predominantly. So during the dry season, pre-sowing season, and the mitigation, there has been numerous aspects which have been taken into account. The next one is the cough syrup and its extent, the ingredients that it should be, and the higher proportions of ingredients which are being significantly fatal to the young population. And there has been whistleblowers who have been talking about the profit margins for the cough syrup industries and the regulatory manipulations ultimately affecting the lives of an individual. So the marketing and the profit gimmicks have been exposed under this report. So those was again one of the major aspects, how medical system has been collapsing, and there have been significant issues that need to be addressed. The next is, depending on to the local requirements, the need for the pulses in India is important, and there have been various important pulses which have been considered as a nutritional powerhouse. For example, cowpea has a very high protein content, and the seeds, the pods, leaves, all of these are edible. However, the protein content is far higher than other ones. And then there are certain dishes which are very staple for certain parts of the country. For example, in West Bengal, it is pairing it with pumpkin. In North, it is with lobia dal, and similarly, various places you have various ingredients which are important. Now, for example, cowpea is one of the very important crops because it has the ability to fix nitrogen, so it reduces the needs for the fertilizer. It is packed up with proteins, so it is again very important. It has a shade tolerance which protects soil from erosion. So it works as a drought resistant soil protector, and therefore is also considered as an animal feed, a green manure, and has been important. Now, cowpea actually was domesticated in Africa. The initial genetic traits belong belong to that group. However, there have been archaeological findings in Daimabad in Maharashtra, and then there was a widespread arrival. There were institutions like Jandhanya Seed Network in Karnataka, Sangam Seed Bank in Telangana, which are actively preserving the drought resistant varieties and bringing in better ways to have development for the same. So those are some of the important aspects that have been discussed. And then there have been surveys which are talking about the consumption of the pulses by the Indian population, the affordability, the household expenditure, and the gaps that are being reported in the development, right? So those are some of the important aspects that have been taken into account. Also, field and academic studies have been very, very important. So India's groundwater recharge and the levels of groundwater, the impact onto the casual farm labor, and the wells, how the pumping costs are rising, the wells are getting dry, are some of the important aspects that need to be taken into a consideration. So those were some of the important aspects that we have discussed for this edition of Down to Earth. Thanks for joining in, and of course the detailed handouts are available at Exam Race Current Affairs, so don't miss those. Have a great day. Thanks for joining.